On this week's episode of Happy Homemaking with Heidi from Heavenly Minded Home, I'm sharing some encouragement for those with an unbelieving spouse, having a real conversation about struggles with intimacy, truths that Christian wives know that make a big impact, sharing some easy and fun date ideas that you can implement right now, and a few areas of life to cultivate as a healthy, happy wife. So welcome, friend. Let's get homemaking. As a Christian woman who is unequally yoked with my spouse for many years of our marriage, in fact, the vast majority, there's many things that I've learned over the years of how to encourage an unbelieving spouse. And that's what we're going to cover here today. So the first point here that I want us to address is quite often I see it is the women who we kind of have this big awakening, kind of aha moment, and we're wanting to grow in the ways of the Lord, and our life is being transformed, and we're studying and we're reading, we're doing all these things, and then we start to get really, really frustrated because our husband isn't where we think he should be, right? We think if he is a professing believer that he should be here, he should be on board with everything we're doing, he should be growing at the rate we're growing, or whatever it might be. I know we're guilty of it, it happens, but I think what's really important is when we want to be focused and intentional on encouraging our spouse, right? We have to remember that we can only control us. I can't control him. He's his own person, and he'll answer to the Lord for himself as I'll answer to the Lord for myself. I can be an encouragement. I can try to help lift him up, right? I can do many, many things, but it's up to him. If it was up to me, I would just make sure that everybody loved the Lord and everybody did everything perfect and, all of that, right? I'm not perfect. I can't expect to go and make someone else perfect. And so I think it's really important that we think about these points as we go into this and go, okay, I can't control him. I can't force him. I can't, make everything miserable if he doesn't, follow and do the tricks right the way I want him to. And then I'll give him a little treat if he gets it, the way I want it to be. But I can show unconditional love. I can demonstrate Christ-like love to him. Not control him, not berate him when he doesn't do what I want him to do, right? Not tell him how frustrated I am and disappointed I am in him, but I can show him that love. Now, the second key point here that we can be doing to be encouraging an unbelieving spouse, a spouse that's struggling, is we can be praying always. Right? Never stop praying. Cover him in prayer. Even if he doesn't want to pray with you, right? Even if his heart is really hardened right now, you can be prayerful. We know 1 Thessalonians 5:17, right? Never stop praying. We see it in scripture over and over and over again. The prayer, the prayerful, the just never ending prayer poured out before the Lord. Lord, be with him, soften his heart, protect him, the influences that he might be dealing with, the strongholds that he's struggling with, whatever it might be, you know better than I do. Sometimes even the things that you're like, Lord, I don't know what else to do. I am at my wit's end. It is amazing what the power of prayer can do. Not saying it's like some magic wand that fixes everything the way you want it right now, but Lord, help us to both seek your will, to submit to your timing, your calling, your desire for our lives. Prayer is something we never want to forget. Now, one of the most important tips in all of this here, just like we just touched on a little bit, right? We can't control him. We can't make him do what we want him to do, but we can be that godly example that he needs to see. In 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1, Peter writes, "In the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands. Then, even if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives." Hold the phone. What? That to me was so huge and so amazing that Peter is saying here that if you have a spouse that is refusing to take the word of God, right? Like maybe you've drug them to church, you've played sermons, you're reciting scripture, you're doing all of the things, right? You have all these words and they just are digging in their heels, that without saying anything else, you can truly win them over to truth by them just seeing your own pure and reverent life, by your obedience, by your dedication to discipleship, to being transformed, to living holy as the Lord is holy. By seeing the change in your attitude, you're not argumentative, there's things that you're not partaking in, but it's not in a way of being, like judgy and, better than anyone else, but just, hey, I have a conviction in this, and, just this simplicity of your reverency and your dutifulness to it can truly win over an unbelieving spouse. Following up this point here is, in order to be an encouragement to your spouse, you need to communicate with gentleness and respect. I'm not saying that you just sit there and get kicked around like a doormat. That's not what anything is saying. You can still communicate with gentleness and respect. And we know that because 1 Peter chapter 3, later on, we just read 1 and 2, but in verses 15 through 16, Peter writes, "Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life." Amen. "And if someone asks about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. But do this in a gentle and respectful way." So I'm being that example, right? I am living out what I am learning. I am growing. I am being discipled, right? I am praying without ceasing. I am reading my Bible. I am in a good church. I am studying. I am just being refined. I'm testing my appetites and what I'm involved in and where I'm spending my time and my focus and all of those great, wonderful things, right? I'm doing that in my own discipleship. But I'm not being really transformed, and I'm living this out. And this should be all of us each and every day until the Lord calls us home, okay? We're always in this discipleship process, this sanctification and growth. Amen. So as I'm doing this, I should always be ready to give an account, a reason for why I'm like this, why I have this hope, why I have this peace, why I have this comfort. I can give that response in a gentle and respectful, a truly humble manner. This next point, again, serve with a willing heart, okay? Mark 10:45. Let's remember, because if Jesus came to do this, we need to remember the importance and value in this. "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many." We are called to be servants. There's so much depth in scripture about this area. We could sit here and talk for hours. We need to remember that our first ministry is our home. The first human relationship we invest in is our marriage. And so we need to come with that humble servant's heart. And so when we take our frustrations at our husband's lack of faith, lack of godly living, lack of patience, whatever his struggles are that he's going through, and we then take those frustrations out on him, two negatives aren't making a positive here, y'all. And so when we're frustrated because he's not doing what we think he should be doing, and so we have this negative outlook, not this loving, serving, uplifting attitude of gratitude, into everything that we're pouring into our marriage, that's not where we want to be. And so we need to remember that even in our struggles, even in our hardships, I want to be your helper. How can I pour love into you with the prayerful hope that it's going to come through, that you're going to get there? And the final point here, to truly be encouraging an unbelieving spouse, is that understanding our home is our mission field. That is step number one, where our mission begins. We want to be cultivating a peaceful home, not a home that's divided, not a home that's argumentative, not a home that's just overwhelming and just turmoil. That's not what we want to be cultivating. James 3:18 tells us, "Those who are peacemakers will plant seeds of peace and reap a harvest of righteousness." That's what I want to be cultivating in my home. planting seeds of peace. I don't go say nasty things to my kids about their dad, because that's not planting seeds of peace, right? I don't go say nasty things to my husband because that's not planting seeds of peace. I want to be cultivating a peaceful environment. I want home to be our sanctuary. I want my husband to want to get home, right? I can't wait to leave work. I don't need to be out on the golf course with the guys all day. Like, I don't want a husband who's constantly looking for a way to get away from us. I want him to want to come home. This is his sanctuary. This is his little, slice of peace here on earth. And so the more that we do that, the more that we pour in. That's why we talk about here about keeping your home in order and making healthy, lovely meals and doing all of these little practical things that really help in cultivating this peaceful home that your family wants to be in, wants to spend their time in. And so when we understand that and we're intentional about that, it makes a big difference. And he should walk into home and feel it. Feel that comfort and peace and love that is the Lord truly filling in your space. So friends, I truly do hope that these little tips here can be things that you can take to prayer, that you can start implementing in your home, in your relationship with your spouse, as we want to lift them up. We want to do everything that we can. And Lord, it's between you and him. But if I can serve in a way that can bring glory to you through him, through our marriage, through our family, then praise God, that's where I want to be. Real quick interruption here, friends, because yes, there is something that literally is helping me so much. I have to share it with you. These supplements. These are Primal Queen beef organ supplements. And hear me out, I'm only sharing this with you because it's making such a difference. So many of us women specifically, we are dealing with issues. How many vitamins have you bought? How many supplements have you bought? Have you tried to choke down those nasty green drinks where you mix up the powder and you try, oh, it's so bad. But we're struggling with issues that really come down to the balancing of our hormones. And so taking these, where these are multiple beef organs from pasture raised, no chemicals, no antibiotics, no nasty stuff in these. These are cow organs that are so good for you. You are getting God's nutrient dense packed supplements here in this because organs are truly the superfood that we all need. And so throw away all those synthetics, throw away all that junk that really isn't doing anything, and instead start taking these Primal Queen supplements so that your hormones will get balanced. You're going to notice your energy's better, you're sleeping better, you're going to start noticing different health things starting to improve. I was amazed at the change and even like my monthly cycle or a lot of intimate issues I was dealing with. Taking these, I'm just now in my second month and I am already seeing so many results. I couldn't believe it. And so yes, now I'm the crazy lady who stops people in the middle of the store and says, no, I'm telling you, beef organ supplements from Primal Queen, that is what you need. So I am loving this. I've shared it before. It really is making a difference for me. I'm feeling so much better. I'm noticing a lot of healing and balancing going on in my life. So I wanted to be sure to share this with you all as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna leave you a discount code down below for 10% off so that you can score a nice deal to try these out. If you want to go and sign up here in the month of July, at the end of the month, I am going to pick a lucky winner to get a free month's subscription. So go and sign up, get your order of Primal Queen, send me an email at heavenlymindedhome@gmail.com. Let me know you ordered yours and I will enter you in to win your second month free. All right, ladies, it works, it makes a difference, but let's get back to our happy homemaking. Friends, today we are going to have a very real and raw conversation all about how to actually enjoy the intimate part of our marriage yet again. And so first and foremost, I think it's really important that we have to understand what the root cause is. If you are dealing with issues, whether it is your own lack, it's his lack, there's something going on. You guys aren't feeling fulfilled in this area. Maybe you do, but he doesn't. Maybe he does, but you don't, right? Whatever the case may be, if there's something off here, you've got to dig in and figure out what the root cause is. And that can be difficult. I understand that 1000% when I say this that you're like, yeah, sure, easy for you. That's a lot of big things that need to be dug up. There's a lot of hurt there. There's a lot of whatever there might be. I get it. But if we never address the root cause, it's going to be really difficult to ever truly heal in this area. And so maybe it's some big conversations that need to happen. Maybe it is seeking godly counsel. Maybe it is, looking to some different areas of help to help you all heal and work through these areas. A lot of prayer, a lot of grace, a lot of humility, but you've got to really start addressing the root cause. Why do I feel this way? Why does he feel this way? Why do we feel this way together, right? What is it that's going on here? And I know for me, those were big conversations that I would pay money to just hide from and never ever have to address, but that never fixes anything. And so a lot of times we just have to really suck it up, humble ourselves, go to this relationship and say, all right, Lord, help us in this. What do we need to address? Where is the root of this stemming from? Is it an issue? Is it, a sort of fear? What is it that's the underlying cause of our just not being on the same page here in this area? Because the second thing that I think is really important to consider after that is there some sort of physical issue going on that's doing damage here? For instance, we've struggled for our whole marriage, and it wasn't until becoming an adult and starting to put together the pieces. I've been struggling with PCOS for as long as I can remember. I had no idea that's what it was. I just thought that was life and that's what I dealt with, and end of story. I have endometriosis and PCOS and have struggled with those for years, and they've caused so many issues in my body and so much pain and so much frustration and things that I've been dealing with. I had no idea that's where it was coming from. And so looking a little bit deeper to go, okay, some of these issues I'm dealing with, because I get it, they're kind of weird. You don't just want to go walk up and talk to everybody about them. But the more I started to kind of become aware of this and to dig deeper into these things, the more I realized, wow, no wonder I'm not enjoying this. No wonder I'm not looking forward to this. No wonder I'm struggling in these areas. My body is literally working against me. And so I think that, Satan just has a field day with the just implication of our sinful fallen world and what it does to our bodies. And then what that does in turn to our relationships. And so it's really important. Same thing for your husband, right? If there's struggles, there's things going on in this area, a lot of it can really be linked back to health issues that we're facing. And so it's really important that we do look to that, right? We do know what our hormone levels are, right? We do look at these different symptoms that we might be experiencing and go, okay, could this be connected to something, especially if you've recently had a baby, you can go through all the different pieces that we start putting together. If you're having certain ailments, if you keep having the same reoccurring symptoms, it's really important to start looking at those and going, okay, could this be connected to something bigger? And so, yeah, I might have my own, issues and things going on, but then my body is literally working against me in this area as well. This next one is so huge. I literally want to shout this from the rooftops at every woman I ever go by ever in life, because I had no idea until my mid-30s how important this is. And the fact that this isn't something that we are educating everyone on, it just blows my mind. But balance your hormones. If you are I don't know, I'm just never in the mood, it's not something I think about, I never have that drive, it's uncomfortable, I don't get there, I'm having all of these things, balance your hormones. I am telling you, this is so huge. The biggest single key factor that I have noticed for me with balancing my hormones, I'm not kidding, was I tried these Primal Queen supplements. They're beef organ supplements made for women by women. You can take 2 of these a day. Holy schmoly. My hormones, I've been on a hormone balancing journey for a while. Like I said, I started eating carnivore, doing ketovore, doing different things to really help that. I started taking these and I read, right? They say they've got their little thing here of here's what it should do in, 1 month, 2 months, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll see. They're not kidding. If you are looking for let's start making this happen, let's get my hormones balanced, let's start working towards this, I There's many ways you can do it, and it takes work and effort and time. Yes, and it's great. Learn about it. Just a supplement of non-GMO, gluten-free, like hormone-free raised beef organs. This has been life-changing. And so if you're interested, hormone balancing is something you need to do, especially if you've had kids. You're gonna have kids, you are pregnant, menopause, pre-menopause, right? Any of that stuff that you're dealing with that's very hormone specific, diabetes, pre-diabetic, right? Any of those things, Primal Queen. Hormones make the biggest difference in so many areas of our lives. I will link it down below for 10% off. You guys use my code, you get 10% off if you purchase your Primal Queen in the month of July. I'm gonna leave a link down there. Let me know when you get yours and I will enter you in to win your second month's supplement, totally free. My gift to you, purchased with my own money, because I want to support you all in this, because it has been such a life-changing thing for me. I believe in this. I would love to enter you in to win a second month on me. Check all of that out down in the link below, because hormone balancing for this area of intimacy and a relationship with our husbands, huge. Huge. I don't even know how else to tell you other than I think you're probably getting it. This is going to make a big difference. And if you're struggling and that's just something that you never seem interested, you just can't seem to get through, you're dealing with all of this stuff, it's probably your hormones, a huge chunk of it. And so start to balance those. You're going to feel like a brand new person. My next tip might feel a little backwards, but hear me out. Maybe you need to set a plan. And I know that doesn't sound very romantic, right? But sometimes that's what you need. Especially, I think, when we've got little ones or just really busy schedules or whatever it might be, it's like, oh, you're so tired, you can't keep up with it. And then it just never happens. And then you're trying to think of when it happened last, and it's been forever and ever and ever. Maybe you need to set a plan. Maybe you need to set a schedule and say, hey, on these days or every other day or whatever it's going to be, right? Y'all have that conversation, decide what it is, but decide on a schedule. And especially if you guys aren't seeing eye to eye on frequency and things like that, having a conversation and setting that kind of agreed upon thing can be really helpful. And then you say, okay, when you have that schedule, you have that plan, that allows you to kind of get yourself ready. Be a little more focused, right? Kind of have that mental piece out of it that allows you, as you go throughout your day, to be a little more mindful, a little more thoughtful in something. If there's things that are going to make you really tired or really worn out, right? Maybe that means your husband's a little quicker to help, get the kiddos to bed those nights or something like that. So that way it takes a little bit off your plate. Doing something like that can actually be really, really helpful. And I'm not saying you have to have a schedule for the rest of your lives, but it can be a really impactful piece to help you in this area, to have an agreed upon kind of understanding, a focus, a goal, something that you want to work together on as a couple to help you get to that, key piece there, really can be a helpful thing to do. Schedules don't have to be your enemy, okay? They really can be a helpful tool to kind of keep this area alive and growing in your marriage, which is the most important relationship as humans that we can be working on, is that of the one with our spouse. And last but not least, I say set the tone, right? Especially if you're addressing kind of the deeper heart stuff, you're having those big conversations, you're looking to health stuff, you're balancing your hormones, you're starting to feel a little bit better. Maybe you guys have an agreed upon schedule, or like, hey, here's our goal, here's what we want to do. Setting the tone can make a big difference. I know for me, our room is the last space I get to in our house. When you're talking about the areas I'm tidying up and keeping up with and organizing, I get to our room last. It usually can just become this like massive dumping ground, because everything that I don't have time to deal with kind of just gets left in here. And then by the time I get in here, it's so late in the day, I'm like, I don't even care. I like throw everything off and on a chair to the side and I say, forget it. Well, then I started to really notice that how much that impacted my husband and I, right? Like, I don't really want to be in here, let alone look at anything, right? Because it's all the things that I haven't gotten to. And so doing things like keeping our room tidy. We keep our room very minimal, very simple. My husband didn't want to have a bunch of like pictures of the kids all over the place. Everything in here is very focused to us. We really started to make this a space that was like this very peaceful retreat space for us. You know, it's not an area that like just everybody hangs out and does whatever they want. It's our space. Things that are a little bit nicer, a little more special, they kind of feel romantic. Light a candle, turn on some soft music, you know, or whatever it might be, right? Make this your special space. When you know that, you know, today's your day. Maybe the things you wear, maybe the things you do, right? Maybe I'll send them a sweet little message in the day, or, you know, we might have, you know, those little moments and little things kind of set that tone for your space, help you to get in that mind space, in that focus, and know what it is that you're doing, right? I know when I get a shower, I'm gonna shave my legs, I'm gonna put a little perfume, I'm gonna, you know, do these little things that just make you feel lovely and focused and a little more there, kind of setting that tone for your special piece here that is important. You know, I think, you know, look at how the world views dating and how we get ready for the guy and we do this and we do that and it's all this like beautiful romantic stuff and then we just never do it again once we're married. Well, that's so absolutely backwards. How about we don't do that for every person we run into, and instead we make it a really special thing for our spouse, for our husband, that we give him our best. We set the tone there in that, and it really does help kind of bring this piece together when you're struggling to kind of get there, right? And like that's an area of struggle that you're having. Let's be a little intentional with it, and you're going to see that benefit. I'd like to invite you all to our Biblical Womanhood study, Timeless Truth for Modern Women. This study is so near and dear to my heart as I love doing this with you all every single summer, a time to dig into God's Word and truly look at His design and desire for our lives. We're going to spend 12 weeks studying through this with video discussions. We'll also have a study booklet printable, coordinating sermons, our community group, and so much more available to you all. We hope to see you here at Heavenly Minded Home as we study through this, discussing what God's Word says and how we apply this to our lives to truly be those women who stand for the Lord here in our modern day and age. Come and join this free study. New videos begin in June and will go all through August. Sign up in the link down below and I'll see you over there. There are 7 things that a Christian wife knows, and I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference in your life, in your marriage, and these are them. They know their worth in Christ. So often I see this misunderstanding, this misconception that Christian women are just these submissive doormats to these overlording husbands and they have no value and purpose, right? You're just a homemaker, you're just a wife, you're just a mom, right? We have all these very negative things being said. But a Christian woman who is growing in her knowledge and understanding through the Lord and His Word, she knows her worth. She knows exactly where it is that she stands, and she continues to grow in her biblical literacy and spiritual maturity each and every day so that she can live that out in every circumstance, but especially within her marriage. She knows that her fulfillment, that her worth doesn't come from a certain social status or her husband doing a certain thing or being like a certain thing or having a certain house or anything of the like. She knows that her worth comes through her relationship with the Lord, the ambassador that she is for Christ here and now. And that is incredibly important and powerful. Christian wives understand the power of prayer. There are countless testimonies out there of a faithful, prayerful woman. Now, I think oftentimes we don't pray, we don't know how to pray, we get caught up in it, we feel uncomfortable, we don't know. Oftentimes we give up because we're asking for something and we feel like the Lord isn't answering our prayer. And so, well, this isn't working. God answers every prayer. Yes, no, not right now. So many times we go to prayer trying to get something. And what we're not seeing is many of those times, it's usually the Lord is waiting on us. We're standing in our own way. And so remembering that it is not our job to change our husband. It's not our job. It's not our calling to just get everything we want in life and have everything go the way that we think it should. We submit to the Lord, His will, His plan, His design for our life. A Christian wife knows that she needs to practice patience and kindness. It's not the easiest thing for all of us. And I will be the first to humbly come before you and say, this was an area I struggled in, and I still to this day have to keep myself in line. This gentle, meek, quiet spirit that the Lord finds so beautiful isn't the easiest for all of us. Some of us are a little more loud, boisterous, take charge, have to have the last word, things of that nature. But a Christian wife understands that patience and kindness are virtues in which we should desire and we should practice. Oftentimes, we bite our tongues. Not because we can't speak up or our opinion isn't worth anything, but because we're enacting that patience and kindness. We know that now might not be the right time. Maybe he needs to walk through this. Maybe I need to just be a support. And the more that we practice this patience and kindness, the more that we truly love with a Christ-like love, the Lord blesses that. And when you trust Him through faith, the outcome is unlike anything we could possibly bring together of our own doing. There is great power and beauty in a Christian wife who truly supports her husband. So often in our modern day, everybody is two-income households and your career path, his career path, and everything is so separated, and there's no time to be your helper or be supporting you because I got my own thing going on over here, and there's a lot of strife within that. Most of the men today grew up in single mom households. They didn't have the strong kind of godly man leading the family, and there's so much brokenness in the world today. We should be his number one cheerleader, lifting him up, supporting him. Even when he's struggling, even when he's floundering, even when he's having a difficult time, we say, honey, I'm giving you the space. How can I support you? How can I lift you up? I know for me, my husband struggles desperately with chronic depression. Sometimes me being a support means me stepping in there and really propping him up and being like, hey, come on, I got your back. Let's keep going a little bit more. I know you can do it, right? Knowing how hard to press, knowing when to step back. But a good wife, a godly, God-honoring Christian wife, knows how important her support is to her husband. Christian wives know the value of communication. Now, if you haven't joined us already, all summer long, we're going through a biblical womanhood study. It is free. Anybody can join us. I will link it down below. We start off going through these traits that all Christian women are commanded to embody all the days of our lives. And we start at the very beginning with our words. Communication is so important, and how we communicate with our spouse is probably the biggest one to master. Again, our number one priority is that of our relationship with the Lord. Our number one human relationship we invest in is that of with our spouse. And so when we really look at how we're communicating with our spouse, how much, the words we're using, right? The tone we're using, the agenda behind it, there's so much that goes into this. And again, the way I hear most women talk to their husband, about their husband, or around their, it's pretty bad. But a Christian wife who's truly seeking the Lord is going to have quite a value for communication, knowing when to speak up and when to stay quiet, knowing what tone to use, the level of grace in the words, when to stand firm for truth. Christian wives know that they need to prioritize their marriage. Just like I just said, the first most important human relationship that you have here and now, this side of heaven, is your spouse. That's the first one. And so truly think about that. Who do you talk to the most? Who do you run to the most, right? Like, who do you look forward to spending time with? If those answers aren't your husband, there's something going on there. We have to evaluate that. We have to discern through that and work on that. Because we need to prioritize our marriage. Before you make plans, do you run it by your husband? Hey, honey, I was thinking about doing this, or signing the kids up for this, or going with so-and-so for that. What do you think? When your husband gives you his input, do you truly listen to it? Or do you go, funny story, I'm not doing that? I'm saying these things because I've been guilty of all these things. Do you put what your marriage needs first and foremost above everything? And in absolutely all of this, to get through the past 6 points that we have gone through, Christian wives rely on God's strength. It is not by my own doing that my marriage has been restored, that my marriage has been healed, that my husband and I are where we are today. If anything, we did everything in our power to tear it apart, but God. It is by His grace alone, through His strength, that these changes happened. That I went to His Word, that I learned what it means to truly be a God-honoring wife. That I learned about how I could truly lift up and impact my husband. How I could give all of that to the Lord and say, Lord, this is between you and him. Please soften his heart. Please bring him to that saving knowledge of you. I can't control that. I can't force him into church. I can't force him into a relationship with you. I can't force him to be this godly husband that leads our family. I can't do that. I don't have that power. Lord, I have to submit it all to you. And by your strength, you will get us there in accordance to your will. So friends, I am praying for each and every one of you here today, as I know this can be such an area of struggle. And leave me a comment down below. If I can be praying for you and your husband, for your marriage, I'd be more than happy to do that. We meet every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to lift one another up in a time of prayer and fellowship, and you're more than welcome to come and join us. So again, be sure when you subscribe, turn on the little bell notification so you see these things as they go up. Hey there, I'm Heidi, creator of Heavenly Minded Homeschool, and I am so excited to share with you all here the plans of our upcoming school year over at the Heavenly Minded Homeschool Co-Op. Now, this is an online co-op that we founded so that way we could be a resource to work alongside homeschool families coast to coast with classes that our kiddos can get in to really help enrich their education. I love the HMH Co-op so much. Not only is it a fun time for my kids, they look forward to it, but it's such a help to me as a homeschool mama of 4 kiddos. And so it is so great to have these classes that they can get onto. They've got their peers they're working with. They've got great teachers to work with. It's a resource for me to be able to use, and it's all done in a faith-focused environment. And so I want to invite you to come over and learn more about the HMH Co-op. We have classes going on from August through July, and I'm so excited to share them with you. Everything from Bible classes for the youngest kiddos all the way up through our teenagers, classes for those learning to read and really growing in their reading. The same thing with writing, from the very basics of learning spelling all the way up through our older kiddos who are publishing books. They're fantastic. We have different extracurricular classes for the kids to get on and learn different skills and have that great time to come together, and even host a Minecraft club for our students, which I know my kiddos absolutely really love having this opportunity to get on and play with their friends and have this extra little special something to look forward to. And so I want to be sure to invite each and every one of you to come over and check out the HMH Co-op. Look at the different classes, see the things that are being offered. Of course, we have scholarships and multi-child discounts available if that is what your family needs. It is here to be something to truly serve you. And so come over and check this out. Be sure to follow Heavenly Minded Homeschool on YouTube for more homeschool content. And if you have any questions at all, you can check out the links down in the description to learn more about this, to meet our teachers, and to sign up for the next class. We'll see you over there. As someone who's been married for now 20 years, I'm going to share with you my top easy, super simple ways that you can continue to date your spouse, and these have worked for at least a good 2 decades. Now, my first easy date idea would be to run errands together. Yes, really. There is something that I think makes this really, really fun. And I know for most of us, we kind of get in our habits and our routines that there's certain errands that you just run, there's certain errands that he might run, and everybody kind of has their thing that they do. And I think there's something so special and so fun when you come together and you do them. Now, I'm not saying you have to do every single errand together, but maybe you're trying to find a time that you could be intentional and spend some time together. Maybe you're both kind of used to just being on your own tracks and doing your own thing. And instead saying, hey, let's do, I'm gonna put together a menu plan, because maybe you're like our family and you've been trying to get that in order. You've laid out your carnivore plan or whatever it is that you're doing, and you wanna go and do simple, easy menu plan for the week. If you want mine, you can get it down below. I'll leave that link for you all. But let's go and do that grocery shopping together. It can be so simple as, meeting him after work at the grocery store, maybe going in the evening, going on the weekend, whatever it is that works into your schedule. Maybe you grab a coffee, right? Maybe you grab something kind of nice to get to enjoy as you walk through the store, but that's not necessary. The point is that you come together and you do this task that needs to be done. So especially those of us that are busy, we got a lot going on, time just seems short, whatever it might be. Maybe you got little ones and there's a time when the baby is napping and you can put the baby in the stroller, the baby will sleep throughout the whole time, and you guys can walk through the grocery store, whatever it might be. Taking that time to do a task that maybe you would have done individually, maybe y'all would have done separately, but say, hey, how about we come together and we'll accomplish this task that needs to be done, but we'll make a special date out of it. My husband and I started doing this. He was going to the chiropractor regularly on a certain day, certain days of the week, every single month. And so we just made that date day where, hey, we're gonna go to that appointment, we're gonna run those errands that need to be run, and it's just gonna be a thing that we do together. But then it gives us that time that, we're chatting in the car, those things that I've kind of wanted to talk about, but it's kind of hard to do when we got the kids and everything of life going on. That's a perfect time for us to connect and to be present with one another while tacking some things off of the list that really needed to be attended to. So errands together, totally date worthy. Now, my second date idea would be a separate meal. Now, if budget and time allows and you want to go out to a restaurant, that's fantastic, right? Eating at restaurants is totally my family's love language, and so you bet your bottom dollar when we can afford it, that's what we're going to go do. But it doesn't have to be that. Another thing that we've done over the years, especially when our kids were younger, was often at least, once a week or a couple times a month, I would go ahead and feed all of the kiddos, right? Get everybody fed, and then after they were done eating and they were usually kind of playing a little bit or doing something, we would then sit down and eat our meal after all of them together. And it's such a little tiny change, but to be able to have all the kids fed, happy, they're full, they got some energy to run off, right? They're totally content. Now we can sit down and leisurely eat our meal. When you don't have all the extra little mouths at the table, sometimes that allows you to, yes, eat your own food leisurely, but then to have a conversation with your spouse. And so having a separate meal time really can be something really special. It feels like a luxurious treat to be able to come together with your spouse and just have a little time, right? Even if it's just enjoying one another in silence, but to be able to sit down and have a meal. I love putting, you know, nice plates out on the table, maybe setting some flowers or lighting a candle, you know, playing some like background music. It just makes it feel so beautiful. Even if we can't go out to some super nice restaurant, we can make it still feel lovely and luxurious at home, where we get that minute with each other, right? We can enjoy our meal, but then we can have conversation, right? We can spend some time, you know, bringing up things, talking with one another, just really building up our relationship, because we made a teeny tiny change of just having our meal together at a separate time. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this every single night. My family gathering here at the table is one of my most favorite things, but every once in a while, it just being me and him sitting down, eating, getting that connection time with each other is really special. A super simple idea that is great for your time and just growth and intimacy with one another, but also for just your health in general, would be to go on walks together. I love doing this. Going out for a walk, even just around our property, around the neighborhood. Yes, you can go out for a hike or to a local greenway or walking trail. That's fantastic as well, but it can be as simple as you need this to be. But going out and walking together, no earbuds in, nothing playing on my phone, right? Nothing else going on, just that time of us together. Whether it's, you know, getting up in the morning and, hey, you know, we should probably start walking. Let's go out and walk together. Maybe it's in the evening. Something that I love doing is even after we've eaten, like for us, we eat like a carnivore ketovore meal. And again, I'll link our meal plan down below if you guys are curious for a simple, easy one for your family this summer. But we do like one big main meal in the late afternoon. And I love after that to kind of go out even for like a leisurely walk, you know, just to kind of get moving after you've eaten. Oftentimes we'll do this with, you know, the weather's nice outside. My husband and I sometimes will go out, you know, take a glass of wine and go for a walk just around the property and just have, again, that time of just closeness together. The kids are usually off running and playing and doing whatever it is that they want to be doing. And it's a great time usually by then that's starting to cool off a little bit outside, and it feels nice to get out there and get moving a little bit. And so going out for a walk together, hold hands while you walk, right? So enjoy just chatting with each other, thinking about life and what you have going on and what you've been, you know, praying for one another, whatever the area might be. Maybe something in biblical womanhood that you've been working through. You're like, oh, this is just really on my heart right now, and I'm excited to share this with you. And it can be nice, even if, you know, you have little ones and they go for a bike ride, or, you know, they're walking and kind of playing around the yard like our kids usually are. It still gives me that opportunity to focus on my conversation with my husband, because the kids are playing, right? The kids are active. They have something that they're doing. And so we get that little, even 10-15 minutes of connection that really is so special. And I look forward to those walks, you know, to go out and to do that is a wonderful time to come together. Now, this last idea might be the simplest of them all, but again, it's just those small little intentional things that we can do that really do add up and make a big impact. And so instead of in the evening kind of go in your own direction, just sitting on your phone the whole time or something, one thing that we really love to do, and I think we both really feel the difference when we're intentional about this, is now we go to bed a little bit earlier than we used to, but especially if you're going to be up for a bit after maybe the kiddos have gone to bed, or if you don't have any kiddos, right, they're all grown, or you haven't had any yet, this can be a great time to come together and watch something together. How often do we just kind of go our own way, we're watching our own things, doing our own stuff, and it really can be such a lovely little date night idea to just sit down and watch something together. Now, sometimes for us, this totally includes a special treat where we get maybe an ice cream or, you know, something not super, super junky and full of a bunch of stuff that you don't need to be having right before you go to bed, but having a cup of tea. We love in the fall and the winter especially doing like rooibos tea with elderberry syrup. It was always a special treat that we would look forward to, but being able to come together after you've kind of closed the kitchen for the night, you've set the house back to ready, you get the kiddos off to bed, you're showered, you're in your PJs, right? Everybody's ready, you're cozied in, the house is reset, so you feel put together. Come together, sit down, watch a show together, have a cup of tea, right? Have a special treat, have that little time where you can be doing something together. We went through, my husband introduced me years ago to the Dick Van Dyke Show. I absolutely loved that show. We watched through every single season, and it was such a fun time to do that. We watched through Family Affair. Again, another series, totally love that show, enjoyed watching that at night. We really like finding old shows to watch. There's really nothing, I don't think, nowadays that's really worth it anymore. But being able to find something that you can sit down and enjoy and come together and just have that time to kind of just relax and be together, but be watching the same things, right? Seeing those conversations that come up and just those fun memories that are made when you have those special little date nights. The easiest one on the list, but totally worth it. Remember to come and get your Heavenly Minded Homemaker Planner. This is 93 pages of downloads for just $5, customizable to fit your home needs. There's biblical womanhood scriptures included. You can see the biblical holy days all year long, Passover to Passover, with seasonal designs that are beautifully watercolored, so that way you can use the multiple inserts to fit your home, your needs with the Heavenly Minded Home Homemaker Planner. Healthy, happy wives are the prettiest. And here are 5 areas that you can start working on today that you can be feeling better and you can be pouring into your marriage and your special relationship there with your spouse. First thing that I think is so important as we want to be that healthy, happy, just fulfilled wife, and we want to be pouring into our marriage and building this bond and doing all these wonderful, great things, is how do you feel? Honestly, how do you feel? Are you tired all the time? Are you just worn out? I know sometimes for us, especially as ladies, and especially when we've had all these kids and things, we have extra weight that's hanging on. We're just not feeling great. We're not eating great. We're not sleeping well, right? All of these pieces come in, but we really have to stop first and look at, how do we feel? Because it's really difficult to be pouring into all these other things when we feel like our cup is so empty already. And so having a just real assessment with ourselves in this, our health, our energy, our sleep, right? All these different areas. How do we feel? Where are we struggling? Where do we need help? We want to be intentional about the things that we're working on, improving ourselves in our spiritual walk, but our physical as well, so that we can pour into our marriages, right? We can build up these areas and then every other area in life to make the most out of the life that the Lord has given us. So first and foremost, how do you feel? Where are you struggling? Where are you having a hard time? Let's make sure we address that. I believe in this one so much. From the time of having a bunch of little teeny tiny kiddos, newborns, all the way up now to having half my kids are teenagers. How are you sleeping? Because healthy, happy wives who are feeling great and pouring into everyone, they prioritize their sleep. And all of us can do this. Now, yes, we're all faced with different things and things we have to work through, and we give them to the Lord and we deal with them as they come. Yes, sleep is important. And we need to do the most that we can to set ourselves up for success when it comes to our sleep schedules. And I believe in this 1,000%. It makes such a difference, right? We see even in scripture, right? There's nothing that a good nap and something to eat, right, couldn't fix when we see that. Even Jesus, I need to go take a nap, right? If he could take time for a nap, we can take time for a nap. Making sure that we're sleeping well really does make a big difference. And if you've got something health going on, something circumstantial going on, sure, those have to be addressed. And there's certain, seasons of life where maybe it is more of a struggle than others, but we need to be intentional with trying to work on that. And so if you're struggling with sleep, you're not sleeping well, you're not sleeping enough, whatever it might be, leave me a comment down below and let me know. We can always share additional videos with just tips and tricks to try to get better sleep. I make sure I sleep well every single day, right? And some days it doesn't happen. I do have things that come up, and it is always so important to me to figure out what the issue was and what do we need to do to fix it, because sleep is so important. And so I don't want you to neglect that. When we talk about health, we talk about happiness, we talk about fulfillment, and all of those areas. Sleep is a huge key factor to that. And so making sure that you're getting to bed earlier, you're getting enough sleep, you're not, being on devices too much, you're not consuming foods or drinks that are impacting that, you're taking a nap if you need a nap, right? You're just making those changes you need to get that good sleep is something I absolutely want all of us to make sure that, hey, I'm going to be dutiful in that, because I want to make sure I'm getting great sleep. Healthy, happy wives eat better. what we're fueling our bodies with has a huge impact on what we get out of our bodies. And so if we are eating a bunch of junk, tons of caffeine, lots of sugar, we feel inflamed, we feel gross, we're having these different struggles. If you're just nutritionally imbalanced, you're not eating a healthy diet, you have all these different key factors and things that come into it that have a huge impact on how you're going to feel, what you're going to get out, right? And again, it's really hard to pour into others, especially our marriages, when we feel like junk all the time. And I know for me, eating a healthy, nutritious diet was one that was so incredibly important. I started taking, and I sing the praises all the time, but I started realizing how hormonally imbalanced I was. That was wreaking havoc on my intimate life, gaining weight, my skin was a mess, right? All of these other issues and things coming in. I personally started taking these Primal Queen supplements, and these are 6 different beef organs ground up, put together. They actually smell great. They put a cool little thing in here. It's got peppermint in it, so that way it doesn't, I totally just dropped it. That way it doesn't smell bad. So any of us who are like, yeah, I get that our food is depleted of nutrients. I'm not getting all the nutrients my body needs. I'm dealing with different issues. So many issues you're dealing with are probably due to hormonal imbalance. I'm just saying, it really is a big deal. This gives you all those nutrients. This is like the most nutrient dense powerhouse of things you could ever take. 2 easy little supplements that I just take each day, and it's amazing the difference I'm starting to feel. I want to pour in the most to my marriage, to my children, to my life, right? Just how I feel, and being able to balance my hormones, to eat well, to get all those nutrients that God designed us to need, to be able to give those to my body and fuel myself that way makes a huge difference in the outcome of all of that. And so if you want to be improving your marriage, improving these relationships, improving these things, yes, what you're fueling your body with makes a huge difference and is an area of importance. What about the way you dress as a wife? I think this is so important, and a lot of it, yes, it's what our husband gets out of it, but it's what we get out of it as well. I'll give a for instance. I used to not get dressed and ready first thing in the morning. I would, kind of lounge around. Our family likes to wake up slow, kind of hang out in my PJs. And then with all the kids and homeschool and life and all the things happening, it was like before I knew it, the day had gone by. My hair was always a mess. I kind of looked a wreck. I would throw on just whatever. And it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, man, like you could tell if I was getting up to like go out somewhere because I looked very different. And it kind of was one of those things of, why do I give my best to like someone I'm going out, like a meeting I have or an appointment or something, but like that's not what I'm giving my husband and my family every day. Does that make sense? Things like asking my husband, honey, what are the things that you like to see me wear? My husband has wanted me to wear dresses our whole relationship. And I always was like, yeah, no, not my thing. Sorry, I'm not a dress girl, jeans and t-shirt, like, nope, not doing it. I started wearing dresses, and it was amazing because I was stunned at, it felt really awkward at first, I'll be honest. It felt so awkward because I never wore dresses, and so I felt so uncomfortable at first because I just felt like I looked so weird. Now that's like all I own, all I wear, and I love it. It's more comfortable than sweatpants. Everybody thinks you're super put together and it's the easiest thing you could possibly do, right? So I was amazed, but my husband loves it. I'm kind of taking in his input of what he likes, right? He only gets me. I'm his one person he gets in this life. I want to wear the things that he finds beautiful, right? I want to get dressed up for him. I want to put that extra effort in. I think of when we were dating, and I would always make sure, I kind of gave him my best, and then somewhere along the line that went away with marriage. Well, I don't want to do that, right? I want to give him my best. Now, not saying I have to be dressed to the nines every day and my husband can't see me unless, I look all dolled up, but I want to give him my best. And I know that he thinks I'm beautiful regardless. I could put a flour sack over my head and he would still say I was the prettiest girl in the world, but I want to give him my best. I want to know what he thinks is beautiful, right? Does he like it if I wear a bunch of makeup, or does he like it if I wear no makeup? Does he like my hair this way? Would he prefer my hair this way? What does he like what I wear? And I think when we have those conversations with each other, it really can be insightful. And maybe you're like, oh, my husband doesn't care. That's totally fine, right? But sometimes just going, hey, I was kind of in between these two. Which do you like? Oh, I like when you do that one. Oh, okay, cool. I want to do that a little bit more because you said you like that one. I think it can be really special when we're looking at this and wanting to feel pretty with our spouse. What are the things that they like? What are the things that they look for? What are the things that stand out to them? I want to make sure I do that. And even just in a general sense, I want to make sure I'm giving him my best. I want to make sure that it's not just, raggedy old sweats and a torn up shirt or whatever, all day because I'm like, well, this is comfy. No, I want to give him my best, even if it means kind of stepping out a little bit more and doing something I don't normally do. The last little tip in this that I want to share is I think it is so important that as women, we feel feminine, okay? I know in our day and age today, people get all up in arms about this, but there's something about feeling feminine that in your marriage, right? In this special relationship with this one person that has this beautiful layer of intimacy that no other relationship has, to feel feminine in it is really nice. And sometimes that's things like letting certain jobs be his, right? Let him be your big, strong hero that gets to step in and do certain things, right? Even if you could do it yourself, right? It's kind of nice to be the feminine one and kind of let him be your knight in shining armor. It's doing things like, for me, my husband loves when I take care of my nails. That's something he's always really just enjoyed. He's like, you're a lady, and when your nails look beautiful, they're just polished and put together. That's something that he really appreciates. So for me, I have my Rocket nail fuel system that I love so much. It keeps my nails healthy and I'm able to do manicures that will last for weeks at a time. Super simple and easy at home. I do that. I keep up on that. I feel a little more feminine. He loves the way it looks. He always loves, seeing, he's amazed at how well my nail polishes hold up with this stuff. And when I change it out, it's always something where I'm like, hey, redid my nails, and it's just kind of this cute little pretty thing. Always having a beautiful, scent, whether it's, you're just doing something like essential oils or having a perfume that you enjoy. There's so many different things that we can do that kind of weave in that little bit of delicacy, of femininity that really is so beautiful in kind of giving that to our spouse, where I'm his one, he gets me. Sorry, honey, this is what you get, but having that one little piece and going, hey, what are those things that help me to feel feminine, to feel put together? I know for me, I love wearing, I don't wear much, but I put on a little bit of makeup. My husband has always said he loved like red lipstick. And so I'll put a little bit of color on my lips, little things like that, again, take it or leave it. I don't have to have it. I'm not saying create an idol out of these things, but enjoying these little bits and pieces that make you feel feminine, that make you feel like that special lady in his life is something that really does make a huge impact on our relationship. And again, it's not turning these things into idols and making them the focus and things like that. No. I'm saying a natural balance here where we use the tools and the resources to build this up so that way we can pour into and nourish this relationship. Thanks so much for joining me here for this week's episode of Happy Homemaking. Now, we have extended versions of all these segments that will be available throughout the week for you to watch. Be sure when you subscribe to turn on your bell notifications so you see them as they come out, and you can access everything right here at this playlist. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.